To call and to speak to Kellie, use these numbers. Dial 605-472-5765. Then dial the access code 608060#. Then to join the session, which will be awesome. Congratulations, you are now ready. Tell everyone we expect 1,000 people listening on their phones from all over the world.
This is a Pyramid One International Network presentation. Good evening, and welcome to Conscious Speaks. Let me tell you a little about the host. Her name is Kellie J. Wright. You all know her. Tonight, be a part of the conversation. What it means to truly love yourself. Free of judgment, fear, ego, pride, and jealousy. She says, we learn to undo what we have accepted or taken on as part of our perception of self. We are free from negative self-talk. Start a 90-day transformation, and she will assist along your journey. Whenever two or more are in his presence is how this works. Kellie's ebook is how she walked her mind out of doubt and fear, one blog at a time for 13 weeks, into loving and acceptance of self. The first step is the hardest, and it will become a way of life. Once we know we can free our thoughts from fear, the work becomes a staple item to the goodness it provides. Life is a gift. So make sure you choose to wrap yours in a world that is created by and lived on your terms. Kellie J. Wright is a successful radio show host, self-love transformational guide, business owner and voice, and author at www.internaljourneys.com. Kellie is on a passion-filled mission to help individuals discover their own truth through her actualized process called the 90-Day Transformation. Now, may I introduce to you, the audience, to the entire world, to the universe, to the light, Kellie J. Wright.
Hello, everybody out there. Hello, Bob. How are you doing today?
What's up?
I am. That's all I have right now.
Hey, that's it. You're there.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
It's an I am show, and it's an I am day. I was praying to I am to be centered without mind all through the introduction because Saturday, we here at IJ Nelson Base Camp had a new addition to our family unexpectedly, probably a couple days sooner than I thought. And so we have a brand new 8-week-old puppy in the house.
Oh, well, you know what? See this one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he's so cute.
I don't know if you can see it that well in the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
gorgeous.
that's mine. He landed here Wednesday.
I know. I think it's interesting that I was talking to you last week about if I ever needed help getting another dog, I'd call you for help. And the next thing you know, it's like you say it, and the universe just, bam, there it is.
Just plops it right down in front of you and says, I mean, this one was on death row. He was in a kill shelter. I said, no.
I know.
And I just lost my best guy from 15 years the week before.
Yep.
So, I mean, my heart was in my shoes, one of those feelings that, like, it just tears it out of you. And then this came up, and I was like, wait a minute. No. You're not going to, no. And now he's now a buddy. It's like, it's crazy. I don't know. Maybe
it is crazy.
Maybe I should be
beautiful crazy.
Yeah, maybe my name should be Doolittle instead of Bob Charles.
You've mentioned that a couple times. I think it might need to be your new tagline.
Yeah, right? Honest to goodness, yeah.
Yeah. I have an 8-week-old golden retriever sitting under my chair, and then a 3.5-year-old one right behind me. And it's interesting because I'm at a point in my journey where we really are needing to bridge out of our circumference. It's one of those things that I believe that we're always dreaming, and dreaming is just creating. So a lot of times people want to think of dreaming as like when you go to sleep and you have a dream, but to me dreaming is creating. So we're always dreaming, whether we're asleep or awake, that we're always in a dream. And so even if you are doing this work, even if you've never done this work, we're all dreaming a life because we're all creating a life forward. And no matter where you are in your journey, you can get stuck in your dream. And so I was laughing because, I was really stuck and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And, and I'm listening to the introduction, and I'm looking for my message and, from Spirit, and, we're doing a show on I Am, and all I, came up with is I am is happiness. Well, and after you find that, you take it to I am is joy. And, you could go a step further after that, right? You can actually, I am becomes bliss. And there's different levels. And it's one of those things where everything that I created was right where it was, but because things were not moving the way that really was flowing, I knew there was something stuck that I couldn't see. And it took me a couple days to figure it out. And I have a 10-week journey that I'm going to be going on here pretty soon that I will bring and live and grow out loud. And I haven't figured out exactly how to do that. I also, with the new puppy, I'm just going to tell you, if you need to break out of your circumference of your normal dream, that shifts everything. It's like a brand new baby. Even like she puts her feet up on my legs and wants me to pick her up and carry her. So with my clients, I continuously will bring things back. If we want to change something, we've got to start with little things. And even if you don't think you're dreaming, it's your routine. Really, it's what you're creating is your routine every day. And so what you do when you get up every day is your circle from beginning to end. A couple things might switch in there, but that's your circle every day. So if you really want to look at what you're doing versus who you think you are and what you're doing, map your day. And when you could, and I challenge anybody out there to listen, if they want to take up that challenge to write down what it is they're doing versus what they want to do. It will become very hard because fear will get in the way. It doesn't want you to see what is blocking you from doing and being who you came to be. So no matter where you are, no one's immune. That happened to me too. So boom, a whole new shift happened to the point of now a new puppy in the house. So spring is here. So we're outside and everything's shifted where I don't have the luxury to sit back in that same routine, which I didn't need anymore because it wasn't creating the jump I needed to build my business, build my brand, to reach out and connect to like minds who want to do transformation work. This is beautiful work. It's opening work. Why aren't there more people connecting? So what do I need to do different? How do I need to grow to connect more and help people find their I am? So that's where I am right now. And it was a big
I am.
last week.
That's where I am. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, with little puppy though. See, mine is not. He's not 8 weeks, but he's 2 years, well, a little less than 2 years, and he acts like a puppy though. Wherever he was or wherever he came from, and that he was just not treated with any love whatsoever. I mean, he's rolling in it. I mean, it's only a couple of days. Usually, a rescue dog takes a couple of weeks, to really acclimate themselves to new people and to a calmer way of living. This guy, oh my God, like 2 days, and he was already rolling over on his back, saying, "Give it to me, give it to me."
He knew he was home. He found a good home.
I'm serious. I mean, I just took him out in the car, and we went where we have to go and get our mail. It's away from here, so I have to drive to go and get the mail. So I figured, well, let's see what happens when he goes in the car, because the other one, Jake, oh my God, you'd go out to the car and the dog was like right there. So this one sat in the front seat, and he's looking at me like, okay, now what do you want? One of these looks. So I figured, I told him, I said, here, pat him on the head and everything else. Come on, we're gonna take a ride. He gets up on the arm of the other door, right?
Yeah.
And somehow or another, he's feeling around with his foot, and all of a sudden he pushes down the button on the window. So down goes the window. Now I'm waiting. Now this thing jumps. This thing cleared 2 to 3 feet easily. Okay. So I'm waiting for him to go out the window. So here I am. I'm driving. I'm trying to grab him at the same time. It's kind of funny.
Oh. What's funny about that is that's kind of like how it goes. You've got like a baby in the car, and they're free because they're actually a dog. So it's a little bit, you think there's a little bit more brevity or room in there for grace, but truly they're quick. Like that window's down there out the window, right?
Yeah,
I was carrying Celine in my lap and driving home, and I'm like, it's going to be fine if I see it being fine. It's going to I will my life. I will things to happen. If I feed the energy, I feed the moment, right? But I did stop twice to make sure, that she, was all right, and that we were okay. And then finally, I'm like, what are you doing? You're not trusting yourself, and you know how to do this.
Yeah, well, the dogs,
you're all home.
Dog's probably looking at you and saying, why do we stop?
I know.
What's the matter with you?
I think she was, and my aunt even said she'll be fine, and I'm just like, okay. But you have a new baby, a new moment. You have a new life. Everything's switching, and you can really take that back to transformation work, because when you look at a 90-day transformation, or even the mini transformation to start, what you're doing is you're making a commitment. We talk about it in the first week. You're making a commitment. You're drawing a line in the sand to look backwards. View it for what comes up. We don't dig, let me clarify, we don't dig at internal journeys. I think it's unnecessary. We work with what comes up, because what comes up is what we're thinking of. Now, as things come up and we process them, they do open energies, so other things could come through. You never know what that's going to be, or you may. It just depends. So we always have spirit-led conversations. Whatever comes up in the moment, that's what we work on. So we're making a declaration to grow in. We're drawing that line, the proverbial line in the sand. Like, that's the day you start a 90-day transformation with yourself, with me as a guide. That's the day everything changes. No matter what, you sign the contract, you start the journey, your life changes as you wish, only as you wish. And I think that there might be some mystique around it that would lend people to think otherwise. Your fear doesn't want you to change. It's very comfortable in the circle of the life that you're dreaming and creating each day, and it doesn't perceive that it needs to be in any other way. It knows how to comfort you when you're upset, knows how to be content when you're happy. So your fear, your negative side, and your positive side have this balance that has been running for so long. These old modalities, this old software in our system, our life software, I like to call it now, that is very happy just doing its job. It's on autopilot. Bob talked about that a couple shows ago. Everyone has an auto, but there's a different auto, and that's the first book of self. We've got to go back in and look at that and see what pages things are on that maybe we don't know are running and mapping who we are when lightning strikes, when attraction hits, when perceived joy or wants or needs are met or not. All of those cues create our life. So you're running on a software system anyways. You really are.
Something.
So,
Yeah,
right? Don't you agree?
what I was going to say was there was one thing in that another master on this station that has taught me that when you have things that you're just not on or you're uncertain with, or that you have to question yourself about and things, journal it, write
Yeah.
it down, write
Yeah.
it down. I swear to you, I really do have. I look like a detective in the middle of 42nd Street in New York. Okay, where were you on the night of? It's like I definitely, when something happens or something goes that wrong that I question it, I'll
Yeah.
write it down because the next
You
day
have
when I read it, I have a conclusion already.
yeah.
The
Yeah.
spirit
It
has
we're teaching
concluded.
ourselves. Yeah,
It's on
we are
paper.
guiding ourselves. Yeah,
That's right.
you're so
That's right.
right. I agree with him. And that's why we journal at Internal Journeys. We meet twice a week on the phone, but you're journaling your thoughts and
Right.
anything that you write that you don't want or you want to take out. I'm like, don't. That's the part we need. We are guiding ourselves through ourselves. But what happened, I found in my transformation journey, is that the things that we want to run away from, it's that old modality to protect us, but that's coming up as a cue, as a flashlight through time, we call it, to show us this is where we grow. This is how we get through to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we constantly see that, hit that feeling and then bounce away to, the mind wants to recover and take us back to its, any part that gets us back to comfort as soon as possible. And that might not be a place you want to go. It doesn't know what's real. Your mind doesn't know what's really happening. Whatever you feel, it perceives, it wants to correct. It's going to look for the last thing that you thought made you happy. It could be, that's why people end up thinking that, that they still like someone, or they look backwards for a connect when they're in pain. It's not that it's that person, it's that last place that we were comfortable. The brain doesn't remember it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's coping mechanisms you don't want, or food, or, overwork, anything that it's looking back to go, okay, this is when she was happy. This is when he was happy. It doesn't know that that's not happening anymore. It's just the last thing it can remember that made you happy. So your brain's trying to take you there. And that's the stuff we're recoding. But you can't do that unless you do what Bob said. And what we suggest, and obviously Jamie too, is that you got to write it out. Write it out. And it's a big part at end, because if you should, and that's why I read through your words. That's my gift. I see your words, I hear you speak them, and I've been listening to you, and I remember everything. That's my gift. So I'm connecting dots for you, and I'm saying, well, it feels like that connects. Do you want to go think on that? And my clients know immediately. They're like, oh my gosh. And they're like, sometimes it just blows them away. And they're like, yeah. Like, do you want to go now and go think on that? Yeah. And we'll end our call early. And let's get back on. You let me know when you're ready. You go process that feeling or whatever's coming up. Or we could just meet next week, right? So it's such a careful thing to do. And it's so liberating. It's so amazing that
was a good
more
word.
people don't do it, right?
That was a good
Right?
word. Liberating.
Yeah,
That was it.
It does. It liberates you because you free yourself, right? And that's how you get to I am. When I first started, I'm very, everyone's always going to say this. Oh, I'm a spiritual person. I'm awake. Yeah, we all are. But where are we in that? We don't know. And it always changes. And so, it's like, I thought I was really awake, to use that word. I thought I was really, in the know. And when I finally turned that right frequency to download the blogs that walked my mind out of darkness, and I wrote this book, I was just sitting there like, holy cow. I didn't have a clue. I knew a lot of good stuff. I had a lot of good knowledge. Right? It's like you can go to school and get a degree. It doesn't mean that you can be what you've learned.
Right.
And that's just, and so we're all doing really good. And as one of my clients wrote, even Diana, I'm sure she won't mind me saying her name because it's her testimonial and she signed her name. She said, I've been doing this work for a long time. I had my game face on. Like I knew all this stuff, what I was supposed to, I knew it, but this work that she did at Internal Journeys and that I've done, it helped us be what we knew, right? If that makes sense. Like you get to become what you've talked about it. You are your words. I believe that. I think we're living books.
Tell me I'm wrong. You stop procrastinating.
Yeah.
You just do it. I mean, it's like so many people that, no, I can't do that. Why can't you do that? Well, because I never did it before. Well, babe, take your clothes off and jump in that lake. It's like
it goes away. Yeah.
This is it. You're bearing your soul. to go and do something you would not normally do because you said so. Not because it was
Yeah.
true or false, but because
Mhm.
you believed something that wasn't true.
I learned that there's a lot of things that I had created in my mind as truths for me that were not in my best favor. I learned that there are a lot of things out there that I could look at and perceive in different ways. I learned that there's a lot of things that just weren't right that I was thinking. Like they were really wrong. Uh, Everyone's journey is different, but I started halfway through this journey, I realized that my mind was my foe. Um, when it was being used by fear. It's not always our foe. I mean, we need to use our mind. It seats the soul. It runs the body. Like there's levels and layers to this, but transformation work is deep, but self-love work, you can get to the self-love part and really free yourself to even just do what Bob said, which is free of procrastinating. I work with a lot of my clients that they're just like, why can't I do what I want to do? And I do this work. Well, I know how to show you how to figure out what it is that's inside of your energy frequency that you've created somewhere along the way in your loop that's not. And sometimes we have to work a long time. Some of these journeys are almost 2 years, and I can't tell them what I see because it has to be what they see. So what they're showing me, I can say, I mean, textbook. I could go, oh, I know, because I've been listening the whole time, and I'm like, I see it. I mean, that's my gift. I see it. I hear it. But until that window is provided to me through them, for me to have that little bit of a foot to go, oh, remember when you said that? And then remember this? Do you think something might be? And then that moment comes and everything swirls around. And it might take well into the second transformation for that happen. We're already learning all these tools along the way. We're deconstructing fear. We're liberating our heart. We're freeing ourselves to be self-love and our first love to be ourselves. We're working with our internal dictionary. We're switching the way our frequency connects outward by switching our inner dialogue. We're working on our expectations with relationships. All these things are deconstructing. We're having deep conversations, private conversations. And that's why Bob said earlier, you have to bare your soul. Because until then, you can't see it. It's just, you can't.
It's terrible, ain't it?
It's terrible. It's a blind spot, your blind soul.
Yeah, really. Let me just remind everybody, the number to call in. We want you to be part of this conversation. The way to do it is to call in. The number is 605-472-5765. Now, after that, dial the access code, which is 608060 pound sign or hash mark, or whichever you want to call it.
I'm old. I say pound sign.
Yeah, so do I. This hash stuff and that has got me. I mean, I like it with my eggs, but that's about it. I draw the line right there. But again, the number is 605-472-5765, and the access code is 608060 pound size. Now, keep on going. You know, I tell you something. There was something you brought up though before, and that it just kind of dawned on me a little bit. Now we talk about things in that we would not normally do, or we want to guide ourselves into, and maybe we're just not thinking, in the right direction or something. We're all guided. Every single one of us is guided. We have guides. They're here. They're with us all the time. How many? I mean, I did this today, for instance. Anybody want to look this up? They can. I saw the numbers 4, 4, 4, 4, 5 times in a row. In a row. Now, that one is this very, very spiritual number. That guide is tapping me on the shoulder. He's got something he wants to tell me.
Yeah,
okay,
and only you will know for you.
That's right, exactly. Now, how many pieces of music out there, how many times do you actually hear for a piece of music someone being sued because one song sounds like another or is written with the same notes as another song? Maybe what, in your whole lifetime, maybe 10 songs? Maybe?
I hear so many songs and other songs that because that's just my brain, and I listen to every music that
you're
I'm like,
comparing.
Do you hear that?
Yeah,
so don't
comparing.
ask me. There's more than 10.
I wrote,
but I get what you're saying. There's only so many frequencies out there.
I must have written over 100 songs.
Yeah.
None of them sound like each other. Some of them was absolutely bizarre, but every single one of them came out of somewhere. Now, I'm not going to say that I wrote them, because obviously, how did I have that many combinations of
Right.
what I put on a piece of paper without ever hearing it, knowing it, or seeing it before?
Yeah.
I was channeled by somewhere, my skill and how to use it. And this is what we do with our lives. We're actually channeled by our guardians
Well,
through
not everybody
ourself.
believes that either. So, and the thing is that for people who, what I like to remind people is, you could think of it channeling, you could think of it as an angel, you could think of it as numerology, astrology, you could think of animal signs, you could think of your different colors that come up. What what it is we all are connected. All is one. And so when you and I speak about our own separate journey, we use similar words, but there's going to be people out there who don't. And what I would like to remind people is it's all the same. It's just how we connect to the one. You know, they always say there's many paths, one road, what is it? Many paths, one way, or one road. I get confused on that one. You know, but you know, we're all looking towards that creation or creator if we are so enamored with this place and with the connections, and when we see all the intricacies, like Bob said, of being able to create a song that's never the same over 100 songs, or for me to be able to get on a radio show or to write and never worry about any of it being the same per se, having this never ending vocabulary of words to connect. When I first started writing, I knew that I was channeling. I was like, I don't know that word, but it just came out. I better go look it up. I used to have to look up words I knew because I'd never used it before. But when I was writing, they would just flow. And I'm like, oh, cool. I wonder what that means. And then I'd look it up. I'm like, that totally fits right there. Yes, it does. Right. And so I think that's the similar, because words, music, songs, life, breathing, we're all listening to something is what I'm hearing. And there's where I'm getting the connection from your last conversation, is we're all listening to something inside of us. And it's either our mind and our fears and our doubts, or it is that higher self, right? Or that guide. Or I love angel numbers. I'm not going to lie. And here's what I have to say to people who say, oh, I don't believe in that. The truth is we are what we believe. And if I am in a spot where I'm not feeling 100% like what's going on, and I look over and I see a number, I know it's for me, I look it up, and that message gives me a positive answer. I've just set my mind sign back to positivity. Everything happens good for us in the positive. What do you think is going to happen in the negative? So if you can start to look at everything that you feed yourself as a positive or a negative energy field that you're focusing on, that will create your intention, then you have your way through. Because it's easy for your fear to go, oh, number signs, no, I don't want to believe in that. Or no, I don't believe in channeling. Or no, I don't believe, that you could have a crystal mind, or you could be a living Buddha. There's all these things that fear would rather you not be, because, as I think it's a Marianne Williams quote, that it's not our fear that we're afraid of. I love that quote, but I don't know it. It's our greatness that scares us the most, right? To really embrace I am.
Do you ever get people who tell you this? Well, they said. You ever get people who use that word? They?
Not my clients, no.
Not your clients? Oh, you are so lucky. I love you to death.
I know. I have
serious.
Very special clients.
You are so good. I get people all the time.
Clients are very on the way.
I get people all the time that are, well, maybe you don't get it where maybe I get it more than you do. Media, being bombarded by media. Yeah. I'm serious. I mean, there's nobody, if you walk anywhere around here, but better still, I was driving when I was seeing this. I saw every single person that was on a road at lunchtime looking at their hands. Now, that's a cell phone. So they're looking at the cell phone. So they're putting their self into the cell phone. Duh. It's like this one place that it was at. The reason why this comes to me. There's a this unbelievable park that's got plants and things in it down here in Florida that you have no idea how gorgeous. I mean, just walking in there, the smell of these things, and that is
Oh,
unbelievable. I mean, it'll curl your toes easily. And these people are just walking by it, smelling all and everything else in it, and they're looking at their hands. And I was like, well, hmm.
yeah.
So wait a
This
minute. I brought it up in a conversation with someone that I met, in one of these lunch places. And they said, well, they say, or people say. And I'm like, who cares what people say? I'm telling you what I looked at. It's where you are, the spot you're in, what real is real to you, and what is real that you can use to further yourself.
Right. I'm not sure what they were referring to, they say or people say, but what I think you're referring to is when people are referring to a collective idea
Yes.
about something. That's what I'm hearing. And that's the way, if you really pay attention to the world these days, that's the way that we're being sold. And I say we because we're all here together, no matter where we are. That we're all being sold that is the way. And so it's happened so quickly. Technology has expanded so quickly in such a short period of time. The United States of America is only 250 years old, and the way that happened is, a travesty in itself, and just part of what the world does is conquering. But if you look at even ancient Egypt, they ruled for 6,000 years. Okay,
Yes.
so everything we're doing right now is happened so quickly that nobody has the time to understand what's going on. They're just trying to adapt and keep up with the proverbial Joneses. What do I need to have to be okay? What do I need to have to be okay? Cool, because no one realizes all they need is themselves. When you have when you do transformation work, you no longer need that outside okay from everyone. You don't need to spend all the money on the shoes and the phones and the cars, and you're so happy in your moment. I can testify to that because I was that other person. I didn't have all the kids. The kids are growing up with these phones and so much more technology, and I love watching my nephews really excel with it. But there's always a positive and a negative to everything. When people say they say, that's just because that's the knowledge that they have. And if we honor people with their knowledge bubble where they are instead of shaming them, then we open up a window that maybe people can learn from each other. But what happens is people are shaming each other off of they say and people says. They don't even know the person who said the things that they're saying, right? That they're quoting.
Yep.
People want to follow people they don't know. People want to defend people and fight for people and even hurt people, each other. Us people that see each other in front of each other, people are hurting each other over someone's ideals that they've never even met, that they've never had coffee with, that they'll never see, that's defining their purpose. And it's driving us apart. I am is the peripheral bringing us together. I am at the beginning is happiness. I am a step further is joy. I am after that is bliss. I am that I am, right? If you start to research, I am all the way back. I know I am. And I understand that I still look for ways to connect it, because if I ever get a chance for someone who uses they say or people say, and they give me an opportunity, that 1 second, to maybe have something they could use to check fact their mind, I want to have it. And so I'm always looking at I am. And I study Egyptology, and I study how the kings and the pharaohs and the queens and everything moved forward from sun worship, to moon worship, to water. And you look around, and that's because that is I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of it. I was walking in my yard yesterday, and wait, no, sorry, because I was out there yesterday. But last night I got up in the middle of the night with the puppy, and I saw the stars, and I always say, "Hey, how are you guys?" I don't see you much. I talk to them. I'm out there, and then I was looking up, and I thought, because I'm studying the queens of Egypt again, I'm just like, no wonder people at the beginning of time worshiped the sun, the moon, the stars. They were looking at them all the time. So where are people looking? In their hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not, so people don't believe in that I am, which is you are the universe, because we don't even spend enough time with the sun or the moon unless we're being guided and we just go out to glimpse it for a second. We don't stand there in awe watching the sun move across the sky without any of the technology that we have today going, whoa, that's really amazing, right? That's the beauty of the beginning of I am. That's what made people crazy, and it made pharaohs want to become I am and to say to proclaim that they were living gods. So, there's so much to learn, and if we could just diffuse, and if we could look at the fact that our little country is 250 years old. We're not even a baby. We're not even born in the reality of things. So if we could stop hurting each other and loving each other, if we can get the theys and the people says to change, but it would take everyone voting, everyone knowing what they're voting about, everyone wanting to uplift their families, their own souls, their own cosmic universe, their own communities, to provide better education for our children, to provide good salaries for our teachers. It goes on and on. If we do transformation work, if you do a 4-week mini transformation work, I guarantee you will love your job. And until you love who you are, you can't change who you are. I know this. Yep. I know this. And so I never rant. Oh my gosh, I'm on a rant. I never do that. Somebody was talking about the man, the system. And I guess I'm on it because I'm like, after, creating this beautiful product and doing it on my own, and this transformation journey that I walked through and I love so much, and becoming a business owner, it's hard work. And not everybody's going to want to do it. So if you think about they or people who say, they want to dog the system and dog society, the society doesn't run without the system. We need to stop dogging everything outside of us and fix our inner heart. Then once that changes, we can have peace in everything that we do. We love our job. We do a good job. We make our employers happy. The customers are happy. We're happy. Everybody goes home happy. Mom is happy. Dad's happy. Baby's happy. Dog doesn't get kicked, right? So it's the whole stigma that we need to deconstruct, because I'll say it again, is happiness. I am is joy. I am is bliss, literal bliss. It takes away they say. It takes away people say. It puts the power in your seat. So you say, what, Bob? I am. Exactly. Yes. I just got chills through my whole body. And when we own I am, we own our own mental constitution. Literally. We talk about it in the transformation work. We're rewriting our mental constitution. It is personal freedom. We liberate ourselves. So even if you want to, this was the fun tidbit I wanted to share. I was hoping that my client would call in. He must have had something come up. We'll ask him to call in again. Because he did amazing 90-day transformation. He just blew my mind, and I asked him to call in and read some of the work he shared, and to talk about his I am connections. And so we will do that again at another time. But if you like to study, and if you like to look backwards for your connect, which I guarantee you is fun. I like to do it. That's what I like to do. But more fun is being in real time and creating a life worth living and sharing with others, like really loving your life. And so the things that we choose after that are the things that we like to do. I'm going to always research words. And etymology, I had to go, after we got off the show last week and said we were going to talk about I am, I was like, well, let me just research this. I'm always Googling at different times because people are finding new information. So I'll look up things and see if anything's changed. And if anyone knows, Moses, the burning bush, God's giving him the directive for the 10 Commandments to bring down. And he's like, who am I supposed to say gave me these? And everyone's going to talk about it. It's either I am, or it was I am that I am. Some people say I am is the way. But I am is what I like I am is the way. Actually, Diana found that one. I need her to find that for me to read before she found that. But I like I am is the way. People are going to change words over time. They're always going to do it to fit the modern times, to fit what they want people to do. So find what you want to do. That's the whole journey at in. It's not about anything else but finding what you want to do. And if you look at Amen, I was just looking at the word and I was laughing because I'm like, well, it sounds like Amen. Amen is the sun god in Egypt. And I'm like, well, Amen could be Amen. They could have changed that. That makes sense because it's still sun, right? So I'm like working with that. And I'm like, okay, so let's go look that up. Let's see if we can find any connection between I am, Amen, and Amen. And it goes really back past Hebrew to the Berber language, which is the oldest living language. It's almost not being used anymore. It's actually one that's dying out, but it's the oldest language. And they actually have, through some studies that a person did on his own, because there's a bunch of us word lovers out there, and he said that in his hypothesis, he found that Amen means am in. So A-M-I-N, am in, right? I am in, right? Internal journeys, am in. They also say, and they also say that I am is part of, let it be, right? And so it is. So what it is it's a qualifier at the end of a prayer or an utterance of something to qualify it, to give it to I am, right? However you choose to connect. What I urge people to do out there is look past this 250-year education that you've been given. I have been too. Open up and go, because what we're talking about, with whether you call it channeling or listening further, or if it's your angel guides or our intuition, right? We all come with that. This is our what I call our soul connection, our higher self, showing us really what is going on in our own personal soul journey. So if we hear something we don't connect to, let it go. I often use this with my clients. If I'm sharing something with them, I say, keep what parts that resonate and leave the rest for others. This is how we have a life that is enjoyable. When we need everyone to agree with us, we're still looking for things outside of us to qualify our self-worth. And I'm going to testify on my heart and soul that I earned my self-worth at the end of my third transformation. And I never in a million years could have explained how it was going to happen. And it did. And now that I qualify that every day, no matter what, I own it. And it doesn't mean that you hold it perfectly all the time. It's a practice out there. It's a practice, everybody. Every day we practice how we brush our teeth. We practice the foods we're eating. We practice how we are going to care for ourselves and others. We practice what we're doing at work. We're always looking for better ways to do things. That as soon as we flip that mirror into self-care, self-love, I am, you are going to really explode with emotional goodness. When you create your own mental constitution, you have the keys to the kingdom. Oh, we have a caller.
Yeah. Tell you what.
That was perfect timing.
Not bad. Who's on area code 602?
206?
No, well, let me see. No, 206. I'm reading it backwards, believe it or not.
That's very cool because you're probably reading it right then, right? Because we see things backwards. That's
Yes.
when something people forget that too a lot. Is that Diana?
Yes. It's funny because we were just talking about studying and looking backwards to reconnect, and then you read 602, and it's like, oh, I think that's 206.
Yeah, right. I apologize for that, but screens are like mirrors. Sometimes they read things backwards.
Oh, yeah. I will. I'll test to that. Plus, I transpose numbers. Diana, how are you doing today? Tell us something.
Oh, I wasn't going to call in because I was so looking forward to hearing from your other client and his testimony. But maybe soon he will call in and we'll be able to hear that. But being that nobody else called in, here I am. I got really good news. I just had gone through this surgery and I've got really good news. I'm cleared for moving forward in my life. So I'm really happy about that. Um, I had kind of wanted to touch on what you first started talking about songs and how everything is kind of repeated. And it's funny because I play the piano and I listen to music, and it, I do believe that there is like, it's, musicians call it a 2-5-1 progression. Like when you start out with a major scale and you go to the 2, the 5, the 1. The 2 and the 5 are kind of more the discord, and then the 1 centers it back. And almost every song I listen to or think up in my head and try to pick it out on the piano, it's always a 2-5-1 progression. So I just thought that was kind of fun. It's probably not going to make sense to a lot of people, but
That's all right.
Oh, it
That's all right.
does.
You're just in a little rut. You'll get out of it soon.
The angel number. I'm looking up 251 because that's what I do. Okay, so let's look up what 251 means as an angel number. 251
oh,
is the number of redemption. Music is redeemer, right? Right. Let's see here.
yeah.
It's adaption is a letter delivered by angel number 251. This is blending into a new environment, right? So that's all about patterns and circles and moving out. So I like it. Redemption is the pioneer sign given by number 251. This is a starting a new life. It is being free of sin and evil. You've been leading a risky life. I like that. I love this 251 redemption. Redeeming qualities of music. Right, we use music to heal, but I've also spoke on this show, if you remember, about how it could also cage us, right? If we listen to music that enforces a bad feeling about ourselves. So a 2-5-1 progression can again be used for negative and positive, right? If we're circling in those frequencies, but also liberating. I like it.
Well, don't forget too.
Yeah.
And that when you're writing, you have 528, which is a frequency also, and it's the love healing frequency. That's part.
528.
That's part of what you read and you write.
That's
Yeah, I
beautiful.
mean, I'm serious. My best
Five.
songs have come because of that number. My best
Well,
long, story.
I don't know about that because I've never used that for writing, for my writing style, because I don't write. I do believe that I write with a cadence that's musical, but I've never written in that music style, so that's all on you guys.
Yeah.
I do know that harmonic keys are very important to our frequency here. And when I was on my first 90-day transformation, and I talked about it last week, to push ourselves out of our normal dream per se, what the day that we're building, I would add extra laps to things I was doing. So during my first 90-day transformation, I had moved home to do that transformation, and I was very intense. And there was a 5-mile workout that I did every morning, but I did it 3 times on purpose. And so I was doing, and sometimes I would do that twice a day. And so because I would listen to my music, put myself through that gate to open up frequencies through music. Sarah Christine was definitely one of those. And I opened up some beautiful healing that well, if you work with me in a 9-day transformation, I share too. So it's very cool. But I found a walking stick on my walk, and I looked that up, and because I asked Spirit what the name was. We could go back to channeling, like Bob said. I was walking in this loop, and I saw that stick, and I knew if I walked past it, it wasn't mine. And I knew I was in mid-step to step over it, and I reached down and picked it up as soon as I was walking. It's a really large walking stick. I still have it. It's my medicine stick. And I got, and as I was, yeah, it's really cool. I have a very cool feather tied to it from a dear friend. And I remember asking just immediately, so who is this? Who am I talking to here, right? Who am I working with? And the name Dorian, I heard Dorian, and I thought, Dorian? What's that, right? And that's why I laughed. I don't know if you remember this, but a couple weeks ago on Internal Journeys, you replied to one of my posts and you said something, and I don't know if you meant to write it or not, but the word Dorian was in there. And I laughed because I thought, oh, that's a sign. I need to start working with Dorian and
me?
my stick. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that. But
Oh,
Dorian
wow.
is it's one of the oldest harmonic systems in music. I'm trying to find it on
Oh,
Wikipedia here.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's just if the reason I'm recanting this story, the reason that I'm gonna do these connections, if anyone's out there listening, because I'm trying to show you ways to connect to things that can open up your windows from inside. I believe that we're providing ourselves everything we need to open up further to our soul journey. I believe that we place everything in our life around us. I mean, we do. So it has a meaning. And sometimes we'll walk by things for years. I mean, I buy books that I'm just buying because I'm addicted to buying books, especially old books. And I don't know when I'm going to read them sometimes. And so we present ourselves with things that maybe sometimes need to be sat down for a minute. I don't know if you're out there listening and you ever bought a book and then you just don't read it for a while, or you set it down and come back. Well, and that's kind of like with this Dorian, the name of my walking stick. But where is it? Here it is. I was trying to find. Well, I can't find it now. It's one of the oldest harmonic keys systems, and it's
Right.
Dorian. And I would never would have known that, right? I Googled it. I
I
asked
think
for something. I heard it in my mind. I Googled it, and now I know that my stick, which I'm a sound healer, is a musical healing, stick that I can use that I've never used. I mean, I do. I take it with me everywhere, but it's not time, right? So we provide ourselves everything we need. Diana's talking to you today about musical keys, 251. Bob's talking about 444. It's a foundation number. It's a beautiful number. It's a hugely powerful master number. So if you have things popping up like that, ask somebody, because sometimes you might not know how to connect them, but somebody else might. Right, Diana?
Well, yeah, and that kind of ties into the next thing I was just going to say is that when you were talking about, when they say they, I have
Yeah.
really kind of just left out all of the theys and the whoever they are, because there is so much out there. Like, who are you really listening to and believing in?
Aha.
And so going into the I am is, I mean, that's huge going into I am. I do believe that the first part is happiness, and then you find joy, eventually bliss, and then, like where Kelly is, to really be the I am. But this is such foundational work when you're talking about going into your communities and your families and your loved ones, practicing this, being aware. Coming home from my appointment today and sitting out in the sunshine, and for the first time ever, I've lived here 20 years, I see this little golden brown baby butterfly flying around. I've never seen a butterfly here. And I'm just like, if you don't take time to sit and be aware of the signs and see what nature and what the universe and everyone is giving us to be able to process it and give back, I don't know why people don't do transformation work.
This is
It's
Diana. There was
like
something that you.
it's the foundation of everything.
There was
Like,
something.
Yes.
There was something that
like
you said there
life
that was.
101.
Yeah, there was something you said that it was very, very important, and I'm sorry. I apologize for interrupting, but you said you saw a butterfly,
Mm-hmm.
correct? Okay, and you haven't seen one before.
Ever in 20 years here.
Okay, your guardians, the power that is above you, that makes you do what it has to do. I said before at the beginning of the show, and that sometimes it taps you on the shoulder. That's what 4444 is. Four fours. It's the
Oh,
angel touching you.
Yeah.
Now, when you saw the butterfly, that is how they get your attention.
yeah.
That is how they do it. You haven't seen it before, but all of a sudden it's there. And I have news for you. And just from what I feel, this is not the first butterfly you're ever going to see.
Well, I've seen butterflies other places. I've never seen one here, right here in my backyard until today. A baby butterfly.
Well,
I
he'll
like
grow
that.
up.
I like that it was a baby, and I like that it was gold, right? So when we're doing
Golden
transformation work, really,
brown.
what what'd you say,
Golden
Diana?
brown.
Golden brown. And what that signifies to me is the outcome like change, right? So when we're on a master's path of enlightenment, our true mission really is to make gold and give gold. So I get in spirituals
Yeah.
thinking about that, and the baby, the small butterfly, that rebirthing, that brand new gold, right? And so we always say that we're the green and the gold coming back for more at in, right? And so it shows a really beautiful pathway. And you could also, I think, connect to the color golden brown to solar plexus, which is identity and self-worth, which in the message that you
Uh,
gave me when you were leaving, when you were coming home, you said, I am, like you were really feeling empowered, right?
yeah.
In that message when you came home, because everything's going great, you're ready to just start this new day, you've got all your answers. And so there's that solar plexus identity, right? That solar plexus houses our self-worth, right? Emotions are stored in sacral, and we have a lot of work to do in there, but really our identity is in our solar plexus. And so the color of that baby butterfly, I feel there's representation in that as well.
Well, it's the color of golden retrievers. It was the color of my hair. I love
I like how
golden
you say
brown.
color golden retrievers. That's so funny.
Okie
You
doke.
said something there, and I'm trying to remember. You touched on something, and I usually take a little note, but I didn't. And I hope it comes back to me. But not how come, do you feel like sharing any of your I am experience with the listeners out there, or how you work with I am? You were the person who told me through your research, because you and I are both researchaholics, that you had found in some of your searching that I am was originally I am is the way, right? Remember that is had been switched. I don't know if you remember that, but
Yeah.
you've done research too.
Well,
I don't.
I was going to say Jesus Christ said "I am" in phrases 7 times. If numbers have anything to
Right.
say with it, so there you go. I mean, he even said, "I am the resurrection and the life."
Right. Well, that's what the story says. And, it's one of those things, I am is the way. Apparently Moses heard, I am that I am, right? What I'd like to connect to anybody out there listening, and this will tie into everything we're talking about with channeling, signs, freeing our mind from fear so we can connect to our life connection, that breath that we live through, right? That we are hearing from other places, right? Moses heard from other places. Jesus, heard from other places. Everyone that we study was connecting to themselves internally, spiritually, walking a master's path, a Christian path of enlightenment to find the way to clear that frequency so pure, so gold, right? That they were flowing and connecting and able to really hear the message. And that's going to be different for everyone. That's the beauty of transformation work. And I will tell you again, every single one of my clients has a different way they connect to their faith. Every single one of my clients is different in every way. But the one thing that we all want is to love ourselves more so we could lead a happier life, to be at peace, to be who we came to be.
Right.
That's a tagline at Internal Journeys. We want to be who we came to be, free from fear, free from judgment. And once we are that, then we don't project that out to others. When we're afraid, then we react. And so we judge. And that's where I am can be a little bit confusing. And because you are thinking, if your I am is fear, then you're on a different path. If your I am is love, then you're projecting love. And so I think that in the end, butterflies also signify transformation. And so it's a beautiful butterfly, golden butterfly that Diana sailed into the show with. I would like to leave the end of the show to see if you have anything you'd like to share, Diana.
Well, I just think that the whole topic of I am is it's still very, very large to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
without doing this transformation work, at least you can make a start and you can start to connect. And I know that I have less fears. I know that I accept myself more. I don't judge everything so much. I am not so fearful. And it's all a process, growing process. But to really, really embrace your I am the way that Kellie is able to, I'm not there yet.
Which reminds me, I will jump back in that after you can be I am, the next is I am another. And it's very, very intense.
I am
We're
another.
transferring work. I am another.
Yeah.
So you can go anywhere you want in your life when you're free from fear.
And I have transferred over into that. I mean, even though I've not completed yet, of course, my complete I am, but I have, in my understanding of it, been able to transfer that over to see how I am another. And I don't judge them for who they are. I love them perfectly for whoever they are. And that is a beautiful thing.
And that's the happiness of I am another. And then there's the joy of it and the bliss of it.
Still have a long
everything out there. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, right?
I don't know why more people aren't doing it. I think transformation work should be life 101 starting in pre-K.
I wish it would. I think children come with it. They already are non-judgmental. They love without fear, as long as they have that safe household to grow up in. And that's what really is. We're healing inner child work from centuries, from along the way, generational. But the only thing that exists out there is real time, people. And so once we could clear the mind, seat the soul, we'll be in real time. We could be self-love. You can join us here every Monday. We're going to keep talking about it. We're going to grow the show. And we hope some people join in. But I've got other ways to make it a lesson versus a conversation if people aren't calling in. So we'll watch it evolve. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Diana, for calling in, and thank you, Pyramid One.
I just wanted to remind you a little bit, too, Annette, this can actually be a webinar.
Yeah, we can make it small and for just a small classroom.
Yeah. So I'm small, small all over the world, that's a big classroom. But no, we can do something like that if everyone that's listening and that goes out and touches someone else and says, listen, you got to get on the phone. Here's the number, 605-472-5768, and the code is 608060 # or hash mark, whichever you want to call it. All you have to do in that is call in. We can put, I'm not kidding, this is serious. I can take 1,000 people on this and mute everybody and pick out people when they want to do something. All they have to do is write in the chat room. See, this is all interactive. They write into the chat room, okay, I have a question. Here's my question. And then all I have to do is give me their telephone number, and I can take the telephone number off, and that person can be on live.
Yeah, we need to talk about that more. That sounds really cool, especially because I'm taking all my writings and turning them into lessons, because it's time to stop talking out. It's time to start showing how. And so lessons are coming. So Bob's idea about webinar, having people on with Zoom, that's a very cool idea. It's a very
right
cool
here
idea.
right here on the conference. Right here on this line. Diana, you're on it.
I know, and it's so easy. It's so easy to do. Like, there's no shame. There's no. I mean, you guys never make fun of me.
Oh, we don't make fun of anyone.
No, we love everyone right where they are. And I would love for people to call in and talk more, to share a story or to ask a question. I love being interrupted. My gift is to flow, to help spark a connection through you. That's my energy. My energy helps spark connections. So as soon as you feel it, you're going to jump in, and that's what makes my heart happy.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about people that are that remind me of March. They come in like lions. On my shows, Net, they always went out like lamb. So, so yeah. I mean, there's no problem there whatsoever. Okay, well, on that note, thank you very much, Annette, for everybody for being on the show. Annette, Kellie J. Wright. She's awesome.
Yes.
And I want to remind everybody too, Annette, next Monday, this is going to be such a cool show, I'm telling you. Next Monday, we're going to do some things, Annette, for you that I'm sure you haven't heard before. And if you hadn't heard, you're going to be calling on this phone. I'm going to have more callers to take care of here than you ever saw, or I ever saw in my life. The number is, again, 605-472-5765. The access code is 608060 hash mark. So simple. This will be, the video will be in the landing page live within 48 hours, actually. And tomorrow, right in the audio archives, you will be able to listen to this show and download it from anywhere. Yes, anywhere. Till then, God bless y'all. Bob Charles.